All right, this is a addendum to the previous video. If you haven't watched that, I would recommend that you do. It is the cam tutorial. So after replaying the last tutorial, I realized that I needed to clarify a few things and show a couple of cool features that Fusion 360 has. So if you watched the previous tutorial, we finished with generating the processes to machine this part. So what if we go to prototype and we realize that this hole needs to be moved over an inch and we need to add another hole, and maybe this hole is a little bit too big? Do we have to go back through and regenerate all this stuff? And Fusion 360, because of everything being vertically integrated, we can go back into the model. And so this component is active. We go into the sketches, and let's go ahead and edit this sketch, and we'll make some of those changes that we talked about. So let's just drag this over here, and let's create another circle, and we'll dimension this to be 0.125, and we'll make another, we'll make another circle here that's, let's make this dimension 0.2. And let's move this guy over. And so with other utilities, you'd have to generate this new part. You'd have to then export it into your CAM software, and you would have to go through that entire process again. But with Fusion 360, all we have to do is save this sketch. Well, as you can see, we modified the sketch, but we haven't modified the extrude command. So if we were to edit this extrude, all we have to do is select the additional parts and click OK, and you can see we have our new part that needs to be machined. So let's just go ahead and click Save. Let's go down into the CAM tab, and you can see that there are these red warnings. And essentially what this is saying is, hey, that feature has changed. You need to regenerate my G-code. So you just right-click on the setup, or you could do it for each operation. But let's just go to the setup, and we'll just click generate, and it's going to regenerate all those tool paths. And so if we were to click the bore operation, you can see it is boring this, but it hasn't bored that. So if you just come over here and click edit, you go to the geometry. We have one face selected. Let's just go ahead and select another face. And click OK. It's going to generate. And if we go to the deep drilling, what's cool about Fusion 360 is it automatically detects where there are similar operations, and it mirrors them. Because this is another 1/8 inch hole and we had applied a deep drill to it, it automatically detected this other hole and it applied that operation. The pocket, it regenerated the pocket that had been moved. And so, yeah, so it is done. If we were to simulate this, the entire process again, you can see it goes through this entire operation again, and if you watch the previous video, you kind of know how this all works. Oh, and the stock isn't selected, and let's just show the flute and select wall paint. So yeah, I'll just simulate this pretty fast. It's always good to check. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about that I didn't really address in the prior tutorial video is, let's go, I want to point out something. So if you go and you edit this setup here, so we were lucky in that when we created the part, it was already in the plane that we wanted to machine in. So remember, this is the short side of the Nebula CNC router, and the y-axis is in the long, and then Z is positive from the tabletop. But there's times where our part won't be in the correct coordinate system. So if we wanted to change, we would just come in here to, so right now it's model orientation. You would come into and select this z-axis and the x-axis. So you can see here that the z-axis is highlighted. We would just select this here. But say, for instance, we wanted this to be the z-axis. You can see it, the stock and the part don't really work. So you want to come over here and just select a feature on the part that is in the z-axis. And then for the x-axis, you just select an edge. So if we wanted, we could rotate this part on the mill. And so now, if we were to, whoops, everything's turned around, you can see that the model is now oriented where this is the y, the long axis of the table, and this is the x-axis of the table. And you can see that since we changed the coordinate system, we need to regenerate the G-code. All right, so that is the addendum. Hopefully this helps, and there will be more tutorials to come. Let me know what I can do to make these tutorials a little bit better, and I will try to improve. Thanks.